I have a special guest with me here as well too. This is my son Henry.
Hello Henry, how are you?
Good.
So I wanted him to meet you because, believe it or not, he's listened to your book several times.
Oh Henry, you're so far ahead of me, learning so young.
We talk about a lot, personal development and, rich versus wealthy, and the two of us have a struggle of materialistic things and wanting the nice things.
Right.
And one of the questions he asked me yesterday was, what was the kind of car that you were talking about in the book? I'm like, well, buddy, I don't know. But then he listened to it last night, and what was it? The Porsche Twin Turbo. Did you mention that in the book?
I did, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It was a fancy car one of the doctors had bought. It was literally, he waited like 2 years for it. Some custom built, barely street legal thing. Yep.
Do you have any other questions for Tom before we get started?
So when doctors, you know how more people are going to the doctor's office?
Yeah.
Do they get paid more or less?
Oh, okay. Yeah, a lot of people are going to doctors' offices, but we don't get to. We're not in. Doctors aren't in control of how much they're allowed to charge. Believe it or not, Henry. So if you and I were both doctors, and you were the best in the world, and I was a terrible doctor, you and I would pay we would get to charge the same amount. So that's one thing. We're not allowed to increase our charges as inflation goes up. As it costs more to buy things, we're not really allowed to raise our prices because somebody else controls that. It's the insurance companies and things like that. So what happens is, while we might get busier and busier, we get paid less and less for each service, each time we see somebody. So it's a wonderful profession, by the way. It was very much fun, but the difference in what a doctor gets paid now and what a doctor got paid 20 years ago is very different. So they have to work harder. They have to see more people in order to keep up their income. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
The other question he had was talking about, do they get paid by the hour or per the patient? So I think that was a good question.
That's a great question, because a lot of us make our money different ways. Sometimes it's by the service you provide, or sometimes it's by how much time you put in. Like your dad said, by the hour. If you work at the local McDonald's, you get paid for every hour you work. If you're a doctor, you get paid by the person. So if you're the doctor, you see me as a patient, you get paid a certain amount for seeing me. And it increases or decreases depending on how complicated that visit is. If you spend an hour with me, you get to charge a little more. If you spend 5 minutes with me, you don't get to charge quite as much. So it's by the person. And the key is, on the thought, if you listen to the book, just one last thing, the key is it's great to be somebody that works at McDonald's, or as a doctor, or as an engineer, or a musician. They're all great professions. I loved what I did. But what your dad and I what we're going to talk about on this podcast is, if you're happy, no reason to change. But if you want extra things in life, if you want that twin turbo Porsche, or if you guys, you said you two guys kind of like you got some toys you'd like to buy or some things you'd like to do, it's nice to have money that comes in that you work for once, and then it just kind of comes in whether you and your dad are on a vacation or camping, or whether you two are working or eating dinner or sleeping. So that's what we talk about. It's just to try to learn how to let your money work for you rather than you having to do all the work. You can still work, but have your money be kind of one of your employees. Have your money work for you, and that gives you a chance to choose what you want to do. So you get to spend more time with your dad if things happen that way.
Yeah, like you were sitting on vacation and you were still getting money in the book.
That's right. That's a nice feeling. It's a fun feeling. Nice to meet you, buddy.
Mucho gusto.
Mucho gusto.
De nada.